If you had walked into the Blackstone truck stop on Highway 41 that cold October morning, you probably wouldn't have noticed him. He was just an old man in a faded denim jacket, a frayed cap, and a slow, steady walk. Nothing about him looked extraordinary. Nothing about him suggested that this quiet stranger carried a history that would one day be whispered in military circles and buried in classified files. To most people, he was simply the old guy with the thermos. But that morning, 3 bikers from the Iron Wolves motorcycle crew noticed him, and for reasons no one fully understood, they chose him as the target of their jokes. They laughed at his worn boots. They mocked his slow walk. And when he sat alone in the corner booth, stirring his coffee with mechanical precision, they decided to push even harder. Truckers in the diner glanced nervously. Everyone knew the Iron Wolves. They weren't the worst gang on the road, but they were known for intimidation and loud mouths. Most people avoided trouble. The old man didn't even look up. "Hey, Grandpa," one biker yelled. "Lose your nursing home?" His voice didn't shake. His hands didn't tremble. He just continued to stir his coffee. 1 slow circle, 2, 3. Calm, too calm. When the waitress approached to intervene, the old man simply raised a hand, signaling her gently to step back. His eyes were steady, emotionless, like someone who had seen far worse than a few loud bikers. Outside, the wind rattled the metal signs. A storm was building, and inside the diner, a different kind of storm was about to form. What no one knew, not the bikers, not the waitress, not the truckers, was that this quiet old man once held a codename whispered only in Pentagon basements. He had stood in jungles where entire platoons vanished. He had served missions in Southeast Asia that officially never happened. He had survived ambushes that erased entire units. And for nearly 30 years, he was believed to be dead. His name was Elias Kane. And at that truck stop, 47 years after the world last saw him, fate was about to pull back the curtain on one of America's most mysterious veterans, a man whose service records were still classified, whose medals had no ceremonies, and whose stories were locked behind sealed files. The bikers thought they had found an easy target. Instead, they had found a ghost from the darkest corners of U.S. military history, and they were about to discover just how wrong they were. When the bikers circled the old man's booth, the atmosphere in the diner shifted. Conversations died mid-sentence. Forks froze halfway to mouths. No one wanted to interfere, not because they were afraid of the old man, but because they feared the bikers. "Stand up, old man," the tallest biker demanded. "Let's see if you got a backbone left." Elias Kane finally looked up. His eyes were calm, almost empty, but not weak. They had the same strange distance found in soldiers who had seen too much. "I don't want trouble," he said quietly. But the moment he spoke, the first clue of his past surfaced. A retired truck driver named Hank, sitting 2 booths away, felt something snap in his memory. That voice. Steady, deep, disciplined. He had heard voices like that only once in Vietnam, decades ago, when he served under the command of an elite recon unit. No old man should talk like that unless he had been trained to. "Leave him be," Hank muttered under his breath, but the bikers ignored him. The tallest biker shut the table with his boot. Coffee spilled. The diner gasped. The old man moved unusually fast, not to fight, but to keep the mug from tipping. His reaction was sharp, precise, almost too sharp for someone his age. "You mocking me?" the biker growled. Elias sighed softly. "Son, I'm asking you one more time. Please don't do this." The second clue appeared. The waitress noticed something bulging slightly under the old man's jacket. No, not a weapon, but a small metal tag on a chain. She saw the edge of it when he leaned forward. It didn't look like a normal dog tag. It was blackened, rectangular, with etched coordinates. She had seen something similar only once in a documentary about covert U.S. reconnaissance missions, the kind where soldiers never got normal dog tags because they were never officially there. Still, the bikers kept pushing. "You think you're some kind of hero?" Another biker jeered. "You're nothing but a relic." Elias calmly placed his hands on the table. Palms down, posture straight, shoulders squared, the way a soldier prepares either to stand or to strike. Hank stood up suddenly. "Boys, walk away. Now." The head biker turned. "Or what? Grandpa, you gonna stop us?" Hank swallowed. "Not me. Him." Everyone looked back at Elias. And at that moment, the third clue revealed itself when the old man slowly removed his cap. Under it was a faded scar, deep and jagged, running along the side of his skull, the unmistakable kind caused by shrapnel from a claymore mine. The biker's smile faltered, because scars like that only belonged to men who had crawled out of explosions that should have killed them. And men like that were rarely harmless. The diner fell into tense silence as Elias straightened up. For the first time, he looked directly at the bikers, and something unexplainable passed through the room, like suddenly everyone could feel the weight of the history behind those eyes. "Who are you?" the head biker asked. Elias didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached slowly into his jacket. The biker stepped back, thinking he was going for a weapon, but what he pulled out was far more unsettling. A small, battered metal patch, Ranger insignia, but not the modern version. It was the old MACV-SOG Recon Team emblem, used during the Vietnam War by America's most secretive unit, one whose missions remain classified for decades. Hank's breath caught in his chest. That patch belonged to the dead, because no MACV-SOG operative was supposed to survive long enough to retire. They had survival rates below 10%. They ran deep operations in Laos and Cambodia, missions the US government denied even existed. They were ghosts, shadows, names erased from military files. Sir, Hank whispered, You're one of them. Elias remained still. I was, he said quietly. A long time ago. The bikers paled. History books rarely talk about MACV-SOG, but to military circles, they were legend soldiers trained to endure the impossible, to track enemies through jungles silently, to fight outnumbered 10-1, to survive ambushes that no human being should survive. And the most legendary of them all was a man known by a code name, Wraith, a soldier who vanished in 1976, presumed dead, a soldier no enemy could track, a soldier whose team had been ambushed 5 times, and he survived each one. Hank finally spoke what everyone was thinking. Are you the Wraith? Elias didn't confirm. He didn't deny. He simply said, that name belonged to a different life. But the room knew. The rumor was that Wraith had disappeared during a mission deep in enemy territory, and the Pentagon sealed everything. Some said he defected. Some said he died in a cave collapse. Some claimed he returned home, but the government erased his records to protect him. The Iron Wolves suddenly didn't look as confident, because standing in front of them wasn't a fragile old man. It was a legend who had once been trained to end a threat before it even realized danger was near, and the bikers had mocked him. The head biker tried to cover his fear with anger. You think we're scared of some old special ops ghost? Elias finally stood. He didn't posture. He didn't threaten. He simply walked toward the exit, calm as ever. If you want to finish what you started, he said, do it outside. No need to involve innocent people. Those words sent chills through the diner. The bikers followed, partly out of pride, partly out of fear. The truckers gathered at the windows. The rain had begun to fall outside, drumming steadily on the pavement as the old man stepped into the storm. Under the gray sky, Elias's posture changed, subtle but unmistakable. He stood like a soldier again. The first biker lunged. What happened next was so fast most people didn't see it clearly. Elias shifted to the side, grabbing the biker's wrist and flipping him onto the wet pavement with a clean, controlled motion. Not violent, just efficient. The second biker rushed him. Elias didn't strike. He simply let the man's momentum carry him forward, guiding him into the side of a parked truck. The third biker froze. Elias looked at him, eyes calm. Walk away, before you make me remember things I've spent a lifetime trying to forget. That biker broke. He turned and ran, dragging the others with him. Not because Elias hurt them badly, but because in that moment, under the storm, they understood. This man had been trained to end conflicts in seconds. He chose mercy, not weakness. Hank came outside slowly. Sir, what brings someone like you out here alone? Elias looked at the road. Just passing through. Some ghosts travel with you no matter where you go. And at that moment, a black SUV pulled into the lot, government plates. 2 men in suits stepped out. Mr. Kane, one said gently, we've been looking for you. The bikers, now trembling in the rain, watched in disbelief. The US government had just shown up for the old man they mocked. The agents approached Elias with a mixture of respect and caution, the kind reserved for someone who had once operated in the deepest shadows of American intelligence. Sir, one said, your file was reclassified last month. A new memorial is being built. They want your name on the wall. Officially this time. Elias shook his head. I don't need memorials. It's not for you. The agent replied. It's for the men who followed you. A long silence followed, heavy, emotional. The bikers watched from a distance, their pride completely shattered. Not because they'd lost a fight, but because they'd mocked a man who had lived through things they could never imagine. Hank stepped forward. Sir, it would be an honor if you let us buy you a meal. Elias smiled for the first time. Thank you, soldier. The agents waited respectfully while Elias returned inside, dripping rainwater, the diner going silent as he passed. People didn't stare out of fear anymore, they stared out of awe. The waitress brought fresh coffee. On the house, she whispered. Elias nodded. Before leaving, he placed a small object on the counter, his old MACV-SOG badge. For the next generation, he said softly, so they remember what sacrifice looks like. As he walked toward the SUV, the Iron Wolves biker leader approached him, trembling. Sir, I'm sorry. Elias placed a hand on his shoulder. Use your strength to protect people, not intimidate them. That's what real warriors do. The biker nodded. He choked up to speak. The SUV door closed. As it drove away, the storm finally began to clear. The clouds parted, sunlight touching the wet asphalt, and everyone realized they had just witnessed something rare. Not a fight, not a legend, but a living piece of American history, a man who survived wars the world never knew, missions that never made headlines, and sacrifices that would remain unspoken forever. The old man had come and gone in silence, just like a ghost, just like the wraith.